Hey guys, anempirefallennz here, and today I'm just going to quickly go through some details in regards to the Hawke's Bay Regional Championship for 2017. This is the 9th age edition which I am both running and competing in, and so I'll go through the details in regards to it and a little bit about the list that I have decided to take. So first of all, it kicks off on Tuesday, so 2 days time from this recording. We are in the third year of the championship. Each year has been purely fantasy based. This year we are looking at bringing in Flames of War as well, which will be a fantastic addition. The first championship that was held was in the final year of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, 8th edition, which I can't remember how many competitors we saw that year, but I managed to take my Empire to second place. Last year was the first edition of it under Fantasy Battles the 9th Age, a really good showing. We had 6 really strong competitors that year, and again took my Empire and managed to bring them to second place. I remember my final game was up against extremely difficult player who was actually worried about facing my list, and I managed to screw things up in that final game and didn't take out my gold, but that's alright. So originally this year I had planned on taking my Empire for a third time, seeing if I could finally get them up to gold. However, I have a feeling they'll be playing a lot of Empire over the next little while, so I decided instead, let's put my Dark Elves on the table. Sorry, my Druid Elves. But before we get into that, I'll just quickly go over how the championship works. So basically, at the beginning of the championship, you're given a list of names of people that you have to compete against in the heats. It's 4 games, and you have 4 weeks to complete those heats and record the results. So for these heats, we've actually got exactly enough players to put 4 games into each person for the heats. So I'll be facing off against all other 4 competitors, which is 2 Warriors of the Dark Gods, there's an Ogre Kingdoms, and there is Undying Dynasties. So, a bit of diversity, a little bit. Interested to see that there's 2 Warriors of the Dark Gods, and just looked through all 4 of my opponent's list, and yeah, I have my money on some games, and some games I'm going to really have to work at. At the end of the 4 weeks, or should everyone's heat games be played sooner, results are calculated to find the top 4 players. The top 4 players are then invited to a single evening where we go from being sort of round robin points based event to a knockout event, deathmatch. I guess you'd call it deathmatch. So semi-final games are played off first, so the top player and the third best player from the heats will face off against each other, and the second best player and the fourth best player from the heats will face off against each other in the deathmatch semi-finals. The 2 winning players from those games will face off against each other on the top table, fighting it out for first place. The bottom 2 players will fight it out for third place. Basically, when it comes to the deathmatch, we don't care so much in regards to the 20-0 result. It literally comes down to the very point. So, every point matters in those games. Army restrictions. All armies have a maximum points of 3,000. So, smaller games. Still played on a 6x4 board. But yeah, I think it just gives a bit more diversity in the list writing. Not diversity in the list writing, a bit more of a challenge in the list writing. And previously it's worked well, and it means that we can keep the game shorter, so which is good. You are not allowed to take any characters that would usually be able to take up to 200 points of magical items. So what this means is basically any what would be Lord level characters. So any Wizard Masters can't be taken. Any, when you look at your standard character, how you've got your, say, your captain and your lord level, you can't take the lord level. Basically, characters that would be at normal level able to take BSBs, which is part of the reason why I didn't choose to take my Empire is because a lot of the characters that I would take count as a 200-point magic item character, and it kind of limited what I could do. And I managed to write and playtest a really balanced list without it, but it bugged me because of that. If there are any draws in regards to the heats, basically a sudden deathmatch game is arranged between the two players, with the winner going forward into the final rounds. Should on the very off chance there be a draw in the semi-final and final games, so somehow both players draw on 2,561 points, random number off the top of my head, then the winner will be decided upon the heat points. Now to go over my list. So I'm bringing out the Dread Elves at 3,000 points. As I said before, the reason I want to bring out the Dread Elves this time round is because I'm likely to be playing a lot of my Empire soon. So my Dread Elves have been sitting on a shelf ready for me to start converting and painting for an amazing themed army that I have planned. However, my skill level is not really where I want it to be before I start this, so they've just been sitting there. I've probably played a couple of games with them, trying to get a rough idea on the style that I'd want to play them, and came to the conclusion that I really enjoy playing MSU style Dread Elves. I do like the massive Corsair bricks. I'm not the biggest fan of the massive Witch Elf bricks, even though I have fought against them numerous times and know the powers that they've got. It's just not me. But this style of MSU really is quite attractive to me. It fits with my play style and I enjoy it. So basically my list for the Hawke's Bay Regional Championship is sort of a dulled down version of what my full 4,500 point Dread Elves list is. So I'll just go through it quickly with you. I have got one character as my general, which is an Oracle, knows 3 spells. It's flying around on a Pegasus with a 4-up ward save. It's running Divination. I just realized I didn't put that in the list. It is running Divination, I'll fix it up. It comes in at a price of 500 points, so it is the most expensive thing in my army. Being on a Pegasus does decrease its defensibility. However, it was one of those things that I decided I like the mobility, I like the speed, being able to get in and around where I want it, behind enemy lines, causing havoc, and just not being able to be caught. I find it's quite useful. My core, I've got 3 units of 10 Corsairs with repeater handbows. Love Corsairs, love repeater handbows, love them in tiny little units. Work really, really well. 2 units of repeater auxiliaries, one is of 12, one of 14. These are really to fill in my core, well, not fill in my core, but I had the excess points, I wanted a bit more shooting. These guys have got the range, and we all know what they can do. For my special, I've got 3 units. I've got 2 units of 15 Tower Guard now. I've seen Tower Guard run in massive bricks. I've seen them run in smaller units of 10. I find 15 is good because you've got the additional 5 bodies there, so you can soak up a few wounds from shooting. And at 2 attacks a pop, they really do put out a punch. So I could have taken them in units of 20. I just didn't want to justify the points on it. I brought a unit of 14 Dancers of Yema in Skirmish. Now by taking Skirmish I lose scoring on them, however I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other scoring units, so scoring wasn't really a big issue for me. And these guys for me personally I think are they're kind of my powerhouse. Whenever I put them into things they just put out a huge amount of damage. And I mean I guess it comes down to which of the gladiator weapons or the weapon master choices you're going to take at the time and how you're going to use them, but I find them a 14 is a good solid unit for them size. I wouldn't take them anymore. I'd take them at the least amount is 12, but they seem to work in 14 really well, and Skirmish just gives them that extra bit of durability from being shot off the board. And finally, to finish off the list, I have got 2 Dread Reapers just to sit in the back and help me pick off some wounds on the bigger units, bigger monsters that I'm expecting to see, because I did expect them to be there, they are in there, so it was a good choice. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this list goes. Literally, the night before I submitted it, I had just had my last game with the Empire list, walked away from it not feeling too happy, and threw this together and submitted. I just went with it. So I haven't play tested it. I'm not getting a chance to play test it before we go into the championship on Tuesday. It's just going to be a case of seeing how it goes. Against the list that I've seen, interestingly enough, there's two there that I think I have a really good chance against. There's one there that I think could be a struggle because there's a lot of bodies to chew through. And another one that's got a lot of bodies to chew through, I think I will extremely struggle against because it's a high volume shooting army and all of my units are quite small and it does outshoot me. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on. I'm looking forward to it. I love playing the championship. It's always a good series of games. A lot more relaxed than in a tournament setting because, well, we've got 4 weeks to play the heats. So, as opposed to a day to play 3 games. And it's always good fun. So the goal is that I will put out at least 4 battle reports, more if I can get through the heats and survive to last into the next rounds. And they will basically be the start of the battle reports that come for this page. Now, just to quickly touch on, I know the audio on this is really poor. At the moment, I do not have a headset. I do need to go and purchase one. I just don't want to go and buy any off the shelf. So, I apologise in regards to that. It's going to be like that for the next little while until I can get something sorted. And, yeah. So, if you want to follow what happens with the Hawke's Bay Regional Championships, or if you want to be able to watch more battle reports from me as they come out, or other things that I manage to put out, hit like, hit subscribe, follow the channel, get involved. Peace.